but what common ground is there to find for a father who watches his child bleed out in the street? How do you deny him his vengeance? I know that fire that burns deep inside. I know it all too well. And when the time comes, will I be able to stay the hand?
Take a closer look at that clock.
Our current state of being, or lack thereof, has left my brother unfulfilled.
What's that thing you just picked up?
My guess is that it has something to do with that giant clock out there. And that clock has something to do with opening the door to Fink's lab.
Our current state of being, or lack thereof, has left my brother unfulfilled. The biological urge to leave one's mark is strong, and it is not an impossibility.
A giant clock?
Sort of. Looks like the mechanism unlocks certain activities when Fink gives his blessing.
So what? We're stuck waiting for the cuckoo to go off?
No. We've already found the clock key. We can manually wind it. Open whatever door we please.
Sure seems like a lot of work to lock down a few doors.
Yo, if there's one thing Fink loves, it's a lot of work.
Our current state of being, or lack thereof, has left my brother unfulfilled. The biological urge to leave one's mark is strong, and it is not an impossibility. We could instantiate ourselves back in Columbia, return to an old life for the possibility of creating new. But we died in that world. Returning would mean giving up part of us, ourselves. We'd become flesh and all that it is heir to. The mysteries of the universe would become once again mysteries.
Sea slugs. Goddamn sea slugs. Could that Oriental have come up with a more inconvenient fuel for his plasmids? If there is a God, and I've seen more evidence to the contrary than in support, you'd think he'd have put Adam into the belly of a nice little seagull or crow. The cost of all these underwater expeditions are murdering my margins.
As to the matter of religion, let me place myself in the camp of the agnostic. I pretend to understand the mysteries of the infinite no more than you, Comstock, or anyone else for that matter. For the sake of argument, let's say this is all one unhappy accident, and we all alone in our toils. Then who would Comstock use to control and shame us with rules that apply only to those with not a penny in their pocket? If there were no God, you could rest assured the first deed done by the first rich man would be inventing him.
Idiot his lock of hair.
Listen, I got you your gun. I'm here for my action.
But my Booker DeWitt died for the Vox Populi. You either an imposter or a ghost. My Booker DeWitt was a hero to the cause, a story to tell your children. You just received the news.
Look, are you there? I miss you. You were the only one who ever... You were my only friend. Booker.
I'm not even here. I'm a projection of your own.
Could you humor me then? Please.
I think Booker would miss you.
Jesus, it's ripe in here. Say, somebody, fetch me a millionaire to clean this mess up.
Comstock promises there's nothing to be worried about. But I don't like the smell of things down in Finkton. Not one bit. If trouble rears its ugly head in the form of one cantankerous negress, I've laid in some supplies in the event of a forced evacuation. They're down in what I call my chamber of panic, near the base of my statue. I've set the code to 8371.
Hey! What are you doing?
Who's there? You can't hide forever. What? Somebody hide! You gonna answer for this, girl?
Daisy sacrificed herself. Set me up to kill her, to turn me into what?
A killer.
Yeah, well, mission accomplished. I'm no martyr. How did you do it, Booker? How did you...
Elizabeth, I'm not Booker.
Neither am I.
I tell you, William, it's getting so the foxes are afraid of the hens. If Fink was going to hire a bunch of goons to keep an eye on the handymen, he should have found some with less yellow in the belly. Now they're hiding away from Tin Man invalids in their precious little guard room. If you need to get in there on your shift, the code is 2847.
Who done this? Someone about? Let you out of my sight.
no survivors. She long gone. Somebody hide!
Find her!
Come back here. Kill yourself!
Damn it. What's going on?
I'll find her. You can't hide. What? You gonna answer for this, girl? Don't think you can hide from me. Still. Death to you.
Now, I know there's been some concern about the nature of the work we do here at Fink Manufacturing. Why, some say they're uncomfortable with the purported harm and suffering our research brings. But friends, let me pose a simple question. Is there anything you would not do to guarantee the health and safety of your loved ones? My interest is the future health of...
Hair sample in a haystack.
Sea slugs. Goddamn sea slugs. Could that Oriental have come up with a more inconvenient fuel for his plasmids? If there is a God, and I've seen more evidence to the contrary than in support, you'd think he'd have put Adam into the belly of a nice little seagull or crow. The cost of all these underwater expeditions are murdering my margins. Comstock promises there's nothing to be worried about, but I don't like the smell of things down in Finkton. Not one bit. If trouble rears its ugly head in the form of one cantankerous negress, I've laid in some supplies in the event of a forced evacuation. They're down in what I call my chamber of panic, near the base of my statue. I've set the code to 8371.
getting to the foxes are a fate of the hens. If Fink was going to hire a bunch of goons to keep an eye on the handymen, he should have found some with less yellow in the belly. Now they're hiding away from Tin Man invalids in their precious little guard room. If you need to get in there on your shift, the code is 2847.
Show yourself! When I find you! No escape, pig!
You and me against the world.
I got you back.
like Fink and Suchong were sharing their research.
Like the Lutesses. Cross-reality collaboration. It all makes a kind of sense. The little sisters and the big daddies. Songbird and me.
Constants and variables. What is all this?
Imprinting. That's a wire mother. If you separate a gorilla from its real mother, it will imprint on almost anything. Even that.
Why would Fink care about that?
Songbird. He wanted him to imprint on me.
Well, if I recall, that was a problem he solved. What's that?
It's a skeletal formula for oxytocin. That's the chemical that bonds mothers to children, women to men, and...
Songbirds to little girls?
Apparently not. Fink dismissed it as an unsuitable vector. These poor things. Fink couldn't get them to imprint, so I left them to die. Imprinting failed. That can't be right. Clearly they formed a connection between Songbird and me.
How?
I was so young, I always remember him just being there. Must be a prototype or something.
Is it a human?
Does it matter? Tried hypnotherapy.
On the Songbird. How'd that go?
About as well as you'd expect. Booker, the little girl in the film. It's me. My God. Oh, I remember he'd crashed into the tower. I guess he was in some sort of fight. I waited there thinking I don't know, that something would happen, but he just lay there. Moaning. I couldn't just...
The line with the thorn in its paw. So much for science.
I should have just left him there to die. I should have just... I will never escape it. Exploited, exploiting, me, Comstock, you, Sally. It's like a wheel of blood spinning round and round. Well, this must be the genetic sample Suchong wanted.
He sent you all the way back here for a sample of your own hair?
He doesn't know I was once the child that imprinted on Songbird. But to him, all the answers lie in DNA. Men like Suchong mistake an ounce of empathy for a pound of science.
It's open! See if anything's worth reappropriating. Check for stragglers. Spread out. Someone's sneaking around. I'll find that piggy!
They want you? They gonna have to go through me first.
Long live Daisy!
Come back here. Never stop fighting! You gonna answer for this, girl?
I'll find her. Long live Daisy!
Let them live!
Take your time.
has occurred to me that this breakthrough regarding the songbird casts my arrangement with the Oriental Doctor in a new light. What more could be gained by this continued partnership? What secrets that I could not answer for myself? Su Chong can only offer table scraps, and Jeremiah Fink has richer meat in mind.
Daisy really even had a choice.
What do you mean?
Right about now, I'm planting a pair of scissors in her back to protect a child she was never going to harm. She chose to die for her revolution. What about me? For all the endless worlds, all the infinite possibilities. Did I ever even have a choice? Did you?
Yeah. Booker thought he did.
Look where it got us. Right back where we started. All these infinite universes. And yet we end up just going down the same paths.
I don't take your meaning.
My father sold me to settle a marker. Comstock locked me up in a tower. And I sold Sally for what? Revenge? To prove a point?
And yet, here you are, settling the debt.
And say we find her. The old pass their damage to the young. Isn't it too late for her now?
Well, I'd say that's up to her to decide. Justice coming back here was up to you.
Rapture runs on children. Little girls with gold growing in their bellies. I'm not gonna break any cycle. If I'm lucky, maybe I can dent it. Just a little.
Pretty lady has the hair? Deal is deal. Bring it to Suchong.
Pretty lady put hair sample in tube. Then business is finished.
What's going on out there?
Bloodshed, violence, but not relevant to our arrangement.
Suchong! Suchong, we had a deal, now open...
Do you know what they call someone who enters man's home uninvited? A thief. And I do not remember inviting you into my city.
I had a deal with Suchong.
Yi Suchong is my employee. It was not a deal he was authorized to make.
What do you want?
I granted Atlas and his thugs asylum. You serve those same men in a desire to escape from my generosity. If they shall not have asylum, then they shall have liquidation. Give a parasite an ounce of charity. He'll demand a pound.
I'm just looking for a girl that was taken from me. A little sister.
I don't claim to understand what you are, but I know that you are special. There is business we can do together. And so I give you a choice. Work for me, or die with Atlas.
I'm not going anywhere without that girl.
If it's a little sister you want, that shouldn't stand in the way of commerce. I've got dozens of them.
I won't leave without her.
My men stand ready to take down the door. In 60 seconds, they will enter the room. They will either treat you as a valued employee of Ryan Industries, or as a thief in the night.